Welcome, Math 13 students. I'm going to give you a quick tour of your Canvas course shell for this semester, spring 2022. Please follow me. I share my screen. All right, when you log on to your Canvas course shell, you're going to see your home screen. It'll say Math 13 Elementary Statistics. It'll have your section number and a couple of pithy little quotes. The way to make your way around your Canvas course is to use the tabs over here on the left-hand side. The right-hand side contains upcoming assignments and when they might be due. Not all of them are available yet, but you can always see what's on the horizon. You can click your way through the syllabus, and I'll leave that to you because one of the first assignments you have is to read your syllabus. And I will note that most students make their way through their course using the modules tab. The first two modules are available to us now. Everything in Module 0, Part 0, Introduction to Canvas, is live and active, and you can actually start pretty much immediately. So I'm going to run through this assignment in the first module, and you'll get an idea about how this will play out. So we have Chapter 0, Introduction to Canvas. It contains the tasks that we need to complete: reading the syllabus, reading the challenges of online learning. We have a video to view. It should be this video. And we want to participate in a mandatory discussion. I'll be running through this entire first assignment and just to go through the keystrokes. So I am ready to make a new attempt. For submissions, I have to submit an image of my choosing. Down here we have upload, and I can choose an appropriate file. And if I have another file to choose, I can go ahead and choose that one also. Now, if I wish to make a comment, I can go ahead and do that, or I can go ahead and submit my assignments. You'll know you've been successful when you'll see the confetti. There's the confetti, so I've successfully submitted my assignment. I am now ready to go on to the next piece. That's to read the challenges of online learning. After I've read the challenges of online learning, I will be directed to my first quiz. The quiz setup is pretty much the same for the semester. I use the built-in Canvas tool to create the quizzes. And when I'm ready, I can go ahead and take the quiz. I'll usually see one question at a time and go on and answer them as you choose. So I can answer my particular questions. This one requires me to write something down. And then we've got a couple of other things to answer also. So I'll let you work your way through that. When you're done, you can go ahead and submit your quiz. The first quiz is available to be taken as many times as you want. That's usually not the case. Once I've done with all of that, I can go on to the next item in the first assignment, and that is a discussion. So we use the discussion forum on occasion. It's usually a nice way for me to keep in touch with my students, especially when there's something important to coordinate with everyone. The topic for the first discussion is your name, your previous experience with online learning, and a couple of challenges you think you might face after reading that challenges of online learning. By the way, you can go ahead and have that challenges of online learning open in another tab when you both take the quiz and consider answers here. So I can go ahead and reply and say my name is test student. It's actually Chris Moss. And yes, I've taken an online learning class before, and two biggest challenges: I procrastinate, and I'm very busy. So, and then you can clean it up and make it look like you care. And when you have something you like, you can go ahead and post your reply. All right, now, at that point, you're pretty much done with your first module. And we're dumped into chapter 1. Chapter 1 is not available yet. It'll be available starting the first day of the semester. But in general, it follows this particular outline. In fact, let me leave the student view, and I want to give you a look at that first assignment. You'll want to read section 1.1 from your text. If you don't yet have a copy, you can actually make the lecture notes work for you. We have our first assignment, section 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. You'll be taking an image of that work and submitting it. And if I jump back to my modules, I will note that we have a review. And again, it's like the homework. You'll take a picture of it and submit an image. And we have a vocabulary review. Now, this vocabulary review is a practice quiz. You can take it as many times as you want. And if you click on it, you'll be able to tell that it's due February 3rd, but it's available from January 24th through February 4th. That's the review material, and then you can get into your quiz for the Chapter 1 material. And I will note that the quiz for the Chapter 1 material is due February 3rd. However, it becomes available February 2nd, the day before, and you can submit it through late PM on the day after February 4th. So you have a three-day window to take your quiz. And then you'll just move through the material. At the end of the first 3 chapters, we have a review of the first 3 chapters and an exam. And again, it's very, very similar to what you've seen before. And that plays out through the rest of the material. There is 4 sections or modules of material, and then a final exam module. I will click down there and just note that it does contain a final review and a comprehensive final exam. So let me stop my sharing. There's your quick tour through your Canvas course shell. Do reach out to me through my email. It's easily available, cmoss@hartnell.edu. And I'll see you around. I'll be on campus if you need to come see me in person. If not, email me and I'll be pretty responsive. Thank you very much, and welcome to your semester, and I hope it's successful.